This is my kind of like an e-journal, but my plan was to do an e-journal every day, which would be like a daily post on my line of it about the process and what we've done that day. But I thought it'd be more fun for me and not less work, but more of an interactive way of doing it if I did weekly vlogs. So instead, each week I'm going to, on the end of the week, which will be the Friday, I'm going to do like a vlog about what we've done, and I've wrote down each day. Every day I've gone to rehearsal and I've wrote down exactly what we've done, little things that have come off it, and I think that it's an easy way I can discuss things with you guys. So yeah. So we'll start on the 18th, which was Monday. So this was our Blood Brothers' first rehearsal. So I was a little bit nervous because obviously playing the narrator, because that's the part I've been given, the narrator in the first main cast, and then in the second cast I'm Sammy. It's quite a big role, so I was a bit nervous about going to rehearsal, and I hadn't had time to look at the script either because I was doing things over the weekend for meetings and stuff at rep, so I haven't really had time. But we went to rehearsal and we had just a little discussion at first about the songs that we're going to use and what choreography Kelly and some of us assistant directors wanted to include, and the choreographers. So Kelly just spoke to us about some of the songs. I've got a song as the narrator, it's Shoes Upon the Table, and then that song gets repeated throughout the performance. Kelly mentioned that she'd like, in the overture, which is the start beat, she wants to mix Our House and Blood Brothers into one. So I think it starts with like, tell me it's not true, and then it'd be Our House, say it's just a story, Castle on Dark Keep. So it's like echoing, like ghostly echoing of both musicals. And then she also said that for Kids Game, which is a song in Blood Brothers, it might be really interesting if we tried and put some politics from now into it to make it a story that echoes many decades, not just the 60s or the 80s for Blood Brothers and Our House, but relevant now. So she said that she really thinks it'd be quite a funny, quirky if we added Theresa May's dancing and maybe some of the ensemble on the gantry, which is the top bit of our theatre, come and do her like robotic dancing when she did it at the policy conference thing. So yeah, she also mentioned an artist that we should look at called, well, a photographer called Don McCullen. He did a series called Looking for England, and it's like really raw photos of punk era, and really shows like the nitty gritty side of the 80s and where we are now, and really just shows not how clean England is, and it really shows the real people of England. The set team, we had a little discussion with the set team, and the set team think that it'd be really cool if we could try and mix old technology with new technology. So have like old TVs playing new TV shows, or having like an old TV and then someone comes out with an iPad, so that it echoes many decades, just like the Theresa May bit and the overture. We want to make it relevant now as well as being relevant back then, which I thought was really interesting, and really explore community. Like community is something that really runs through both plays, and we have to make sure that community comes across the most, if anything, from the plays. It has to be community. So we continued with our read through. We did a read through last week, but didn't get through it all. So we continued with a read through, and the only thing that come from that really was that I really need to work on my Liverpudlian voice. I didn't plan on doing a Liverpudlian voice because the narrator is sort of, he's not really a character, so he might not be from Liverpool. So I didn't really plan on doing a Liverpudlian voice, but I'm going to anyway. So yeah. that's something that I need to work on, and it's going to be a process, and I might do some videos of showing me working on that. So that's something I need to work on. And then we worked on Kids Game, which is the big number which I would be performing as Sammy, but for this one I took a backseat and let the main Sammy do it. And I did some directing with Danny for this, which is another assistant director, but I kind of stood out and let her and Abby, which is one of the choreographers, take charge, and really made sure I paid attention to the blocking for Sammy and where he was going to be going. And my camera decided to stop filming, so I'll go back. It's okay. I think I was on, I need to pay attention to Tal's blocking, and this is really important because if we have, when we have an understudies or cast 2 rehearsal, I don't want it to be new to me and it give me something to do while I was waiting for my part. So it was really important for me to pay attention to that. I also helped Tal out with the singing because I've done Blood Brothers before. I did it at school, so I was familiar with all the songs, and I wanted them to make sure they put a lot of character into it because Kids Game is a very it's a very characterful song. Not just meaning that there's loads of characters on stage. I mean that as a character actor, which I believe I am, I feel like I could give a lot to it because of the different voices and the different playing around that the kids are doing. It means that playing around with Sammy, but also Sammy playing around with the professor and the cowboy, and it's just a really fun thing to do. But yeah, I took a kind of backseat on that and just watched and advised when I needed to. So on to the Tuesday, which is the 19th. This was an Our House read through. I haven't got a role in Our House. I'm ensemble, so I haven't got a speaking role. But it was really interesting to sit as just a person, not as an actor or anything. To just sit and listen to the script. And I'm not really a big fan of Madness or their music, and I didn't think I was gonna like the play. But after listening to it, I kind of like it. There's things I'd change, obviously. I'm quite a critical person, so I don't think I would have the dad that died and then comes back to life. I don't think I would have the good and the bad Joe. But after reading it, I see clear similarities with Blood Brothers. So the narrator and the dad are the same type of person. Joe Casey, Mickey, and Joe Casey, good and bad Joe Casey, are Mickey and Edward. So there's a real similarities running through both. Also, community is a huge thing in the play and in Blood Brothers, and it sort of made everyone. Now we know where the similarities are going to go, and it sort of brought us all together, because before that we were kind of all confused of how they're going to merge. But yeah, we've done it now, and I really liked it. So yeah, a lot of similarities. We also have a discussion, because in it there's the good and the bad Joe Casey, and instead of having something physically on him that changes, like a costume, because in the original he was wearing a black costume to show bad Joe Casey and a white one to show good. I don't want that, because I feel like it's a bit outdated, and I'm an assistant director, and I feel like there needs to be something a bit more innovative if we're trying to make it modern and trying to make it relevant to now, and also listening to what the set team want to do with mixing old and new technology. I thought it might be a really cool idea if we have like a badge on him, something that lights up black and white, and then there's a moment on stage where he turns it off to switch to the bad or the good, or the ensemble do that with little lights or something, or torches, something visually that can change. This will make it easier for costume, this will make it easier for the actor, and I think it'll be much more interesting to watch than just someone taking a jacket off and putting a jacket on. But me and Jake, another assistant director, was sort of on board for that. The other two wasn't. So we decided on the jacket and having a reversible jacket. But then after talking to the tutors, we sort of don't want that. It's too easy. It's been done. I didn't want it anyway. So yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to decide before we do the blocking of our house, because it's a really important thing. Okay, Wednesday. Wednesday was our the 20th. That was our singing and Blood Brothers rehearsal. So we begin the day with a singing call where the whole ensemble sing. We always do the songs from our house because they're the most ensemble songs. So we do a warm up and then we sang Our House, the actual song, which was really fun, and I'm really starting to enjoy the music of Madness and the music of Our House, really. I feel like I can really put character into the songs, and that they're written that way, so it's easier to be that big, bold character because you have no choice. Doing the Cockney accent is something that I can already do, so that's really fun. I really enjoy doing it, and everyone enjoys putting character into it, and you can see when we're singing that it doesn't feel like a chore, even though it's first thing in the morning, everyone's a bit tired. You automatically enjoy it because it's Madness and it's always party music, and it always takes you to a moment. They're so relatable, and they take you to a time. They always take me to like birthday parties or at weddings. There's always a Madness song, and every time I hear one, that's where I go. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. We then split off and blocked the first scene of Blood Brothers. So this is where I tried out the narrator's voice for the first time. I've been watching the musical online, Blood Brothers, and I've been listening to the soundtrack to try and get the Scouser accent. Now, the man that does it in the musical is not the man that plays the narrator in the musical. He doesn't do a typical Liverpudlian accent, so I've kind of been going down that route and the way he does it. But I wasn't planning on doing that. I wasn't planning on doing a Liverpudlian accent. I wanted to kind of go with this like genderless, regionless vibe to him, because he's kind of the grief and the regret, and he's kind of like the devil of the play, and yeah, he's not a very nice person. I didn't want to give it like that's a man, because my understudy's a woman, so we wanted to work on like doing a genderless vibe. Like I was planning on maybe wearing lipstick for it, and she was gonna like scrape her hair back and wear the same lipstick, and we wanted to look similar so that it was similar role. Yeah. So anyway, I wasn't planning on doing a Liverpudlian accent, but I tried it out anyway. And I'm kind of like, I'm getting there-ish. And I'm kind of feeling a lot more, I'm starting to understand him more, I feel like. I need to relax a bit more, and relax and just say the words, not like a script. Like, it's sort of a bit Shakespearean, that's the way Willie Russell writes it. But yeah, it's something I'm going to have to work on because it was our first rehearsal, so that's fine. I had to give a lot of advice to my understudy, so I'd block it and then she'd have a go, and I'd just be like, oh, I stood there, I'll do it this way. So we're working together, and I think that's how it should be, because we're playing the same role and we want to give it justice and sort of do it similar both nights, play the same character. And the good thing about the narrator is he plays multiple parts throughout it. So I also play a milkman and a gynecologist. And the milkman's posture and the way he speaks and the way everything about him is completely different than the narrator and completely different than the gynecologist, which is a blessing and a curse, because it's really good because I get to show all like the range of characters I can play, but difficult because the milkman is going to be really Liverpudlian, and Kelly sort of directed me on how to do it, and he's got really bad posture, and he's sort of like a middle-aged man. He doesn't care that Mrs. Johnson doesn't have the money. He's just doing his job. He's just a day-to-day man doing his job. The gynecologist is completely different. Well-educated, well-worked. There's sort of that joke that, yeah, he was the milkman, but that's just because I'm playing the same part. But I'm doing a different voice for that, so I'm doing that a lot more posher. And then the narrator, his posture, anyway, is like different than I would stand. He always has one hand in the pocket. He's quite chilled. He's got that relaxed, like, secret detective vibe. And yeah, that's all I can really say about him. It's just, I'm excited to explore it, which I think is good. It's like the most important thing for me to be excited about is that. We then did a lead vocal rehearsal after. This is where we did baggy trousers. Oh yeah, baggy trousers. I'm also the teacher in baggy trousers now. So Sam just come and got me and said that I'm now the teacher in baggy trousers, which is good because now I'm in our house, but I'm only in one. I'm only in the song. But again, it's kind of a bit of a disappointment because I really enjoyed the dance and he doesn't join in on the dance, but it gets me to show another character that I can play. So at the moment I'll have like 5 different characters I'm playing. 4 of them will be in with the narrator and 1 will be the teacher. Oh, and then on top of that, Sammy. But yeah, Sammy's a whole other story. So yeah, we also discussed the production stuff, just having a little chat about how the production's going to work. So the costume wants to talk to these people want to talk to the assistant directors. There's a lot of people rushing, and there seems to be a lot of people like, I want to do it now, I want to do my job now, which I've kind of been like, we're 3 days in, just relax a bit. I get that, yeah, you're excited, but marketing wanted people in their costumes already, and I said, we haven't even got costumes yet because we just wouldn't. So that's been a little bit of a headache, but it's up to them. We've rehearsed the songs again so what we did in our singing call this morning, we did again in the lead vocal call, but focused on some of the solo parts. So Wings of the Dove, the soloist did theirs, but we're sort of repeating the same songs so that we get that character and we understand the music. On to the Thursday now, which is the 21st. This, again, we split to rehearse Blood Brothers. So the class split and we did Blood Brothers, and we continued from where we'd left off the previous day with the blocking. So we've just been kept going with it. And I don't know what it was about the Thursday, but the moment I delivered my first line, Kelly said, there's the character, the narrator. I think it's because, I don't know, I felt a lot more relaxed that day because I've already done him. I did him the previous day, so I started to understand his posture and the way he talks. So she literally said, you're becoming a lot more chilled with the narrator, and that's how we need to be. My voice has been improving, she said, my accent, and told me to look at some old videos of John Lennon and the way he speaks, and it's really slow and relaxed, and he takes his time. So that's something I'm going to do. Yeah, and I really enjoyed Thursday, the lesson, and I feel like I'm not becoming the narrator. I'm not a method actor, but I'm understanding him better than I was before, and we're only like a week in, so it can only get better than there. After that, we come back and did some ensemble work, and this was for the beginning, where it's in the overture, and Kelly wants us to make like a street. So I was a lamppost, which sounds weird, but it was kind of quite challenging to keep my hands in the air, and become an inanimate object is really hard in a space because there's things happening around. It was a street, but I had to be a lamppost. And Kelly said there was a moment she was watching us and my partner, who was Amy, and there's a moment where we stopped being a person and we had that connection, and it was just like, you're something else now, which is really good. Oh yes, and then we went back to Blood Brothers, but as an ensemble piece, and tried to work on, I call it the Bible scene. So it's a scene when Mrs. Lyons says, we need to make this binding agreement, and then the narrator comes on and says, in the name of Jesus, the thing is done. There's no going back for anyone. It's too late now for feeling torn. There's a debt being born, or something like that. I'm not really sure on the lines yet. But this part we wanted to be really dramatic, so Karen took charge of directing and decided that it might be really cool if there's other people behind me, like other narrators, and they sort of shadow my movement. So I put my arm out to give the Bible. They all do like this elaborate like reach to do it as well, which is really cool. I have a video of that which I'll put in as well. We also did a part where that leans into the pram scene, I call it, when the finance man have come to the catalogue man for Mrs. Johnstone when the babies are born. That they want to be doing a physical pram, like a physical theatre pram, which is really challenging. I wasn't part of that, but it looked really challenging, and it sort of didn't pay off, I think, personally. So that's something that we're going to have to work on, because if not, we're going to have a real pram, because at the moment it's just not working. It just doesn't look like a pram, and it sort of looks awkward, and I don't think people are dedicated to it enough yet. But yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Yeah, so then we move on to the Friday, which was today. This is a Friday, and this was our house dance rehearsals. So we were wearing dance attire. We all came properly because we did dance last Friday, so I sort of thought it was going to be dance again this Friday, which it was. And this was a really enjoyable day. I mean, like I said before, you can't dance to madness and not enjoy yourself, because it just doesn't translate. It really doesn't. So we did our warm-up, which was led by some of the members of the class, which are T and Carter. Warm-ups are really important, and maybe less important doing the style of dancing we're doing, but it's still just, it gets you in that mindset for dance. And especially we start at 9:30, so everyone's tired, and it's like a wake-up call more than a warm-up. But it really gets you going and excited. We went over our baggy trousers and wings of a dove dance that we did last week, just stepping over that and making sure we knew it again. Then we did some blocking for baggy trousers, which I kind of wasn't in because the head teacher who I'm playing doesn't dance until the very, very end. But he comes in and like does a bit of the song and shouts, and yeah. So I can't really comment on that one, but it looked really good. Wings of the Dove, I didn't enjoy it last week. I really enjoy it now. Don't know why. It's got a really nice vibe to the song, and I really enjoy dancing it, and everyone else did. And then we went from Ella, who is our Friday dance teacher, and then went to Kelly, so we split groups again and joined back. And we did Our House, this song, with Kelly, and one of our classmates, Abby, she actually choreographed the dance, which it's really good. And I keep saying I'm enjoying doing the dancing, but I really am. And I'm excited to be in the ensemble because I get to dance so much. So this dance was just really clear. Community came through more than anything in the dance. And it's a really, what's the word? It's not a typical way of doing it. She could have made it a lot more easier for herself, but she hasn't, which I think is great. She's included everyone. She's made a part where, okay, if you are not that big of a dancer, you don't have to do this bit, and then the ones who want to dance can do this bit. And it was really clear the way she taught it us. Yeah, it's just a really a really cool dance, and it's going to be incorporated because we have a little chat about the set. So there's going to be scaffolding and doors everywhere, and the song and the set and the movement sort of complement each other, which is weird, but she did a really good job. And also characterization through that is really important, because that is where that's the first song, so we've all got to establish ourselves straight away. Even as an ensemble member, I've got to come out on stage in a character, not just as me, and different than the characters I'm playing in Blood Brothers, and different to the character I'm playing later on in Our House. It helps that it sort of is that street vibe, so you can sort of work around and think of your street and figure out how you're going to do it. So yeah, it's been a really enjoyable week. I'm excited to continue the process. I'm going to be doing one of these every week. Yeah, just to catch up really, to just talk about how's it going. Thank you.